This is the Haulin Assets podcast, where we show you how to start and run your own trucking company. Ever wanted to go out on your own? Follow Chris as he goes through the highs and lows of running on his own authority. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Haulin Assets podcast, episode number 102. Chris, welcome. How are you today?
Great to be here. I'm doing well.
Good. Glad to hear it. I'm Craig. Of course, after 102 episodes, people kind of get
probably
to know the voices, but I'm Craig. He's Chris. And today we're talking about economics for small fleets. Now, to be clear, Chris and I are both genius economists. We're here to dispel any and all myths, rumors, and questions about the economy. All global macroeconomic issues will be solved here in the next 30 or so minutes, right, Chris?
I'm kind of thinking that no one has ever used genius and our names in the same sentence before. So I'm not sure that that's true.
I don't know. I told you the story. People can go back. I don't know what episode it was. The story of when I snuck a girl out of my basement as a teenager. That was pretty genius, Chris. Okay.
Yeah, it was smart. I'm not sure I'd say genius.
So, Chris, before we get started, of course, people should go to HaulinAssetsLLC.com to check out full show notes, to get documentation for financials episodes, to hear past episodes, and to submit questions and comments that they'd like us to address in future episodes. And they can also find us on Facebook, where we also share some other fun things, photos and updates from the road, that sort of thing. So, any other housekeeping that I'm forgetting?
Yeah. First, I want to thank everybody for their submissions, their questions, and their stories. Kind of how's Haulin Assets helped you out. We've got a not an overwhelming number, but a decent number of them. And I'm going to start working through those in the next few weeks. So we're going to build an episode with that where we announce the winner of the prizes and have some of those folks on the show. I'm tentatively scheduling it for the 8th of June. This summer is going to be crazy for me, and this, the next several weeks is. And so I can't do it the next episode. I just don't have time. So thinking 2 episodes, June 8th, plan on that. Should be a fun episode.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for the submissions.
All right. Very good. And people can still submit when this comes out?
No. There was a deadline. Closed? Yeah. Okay. I think it was like the 5th of May or something like that. So we're past that.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. That's right. No more work. Okay. No. We already have a lot of work to do. So.
If you want to submit questions, or I think hopefully if this goes well, we'll do it more than once. And so maybe at some future episode, we'll do it again.
All right. Very good. And you also mentioned that you saw something recently, Chris, that made you chuckle.
It made me laugh. Yeah.
Oh, and you said you wanted to bring it up, but what is it?
And I can't remember exactly where I saw it. Probably like maybe Facebook or something like that. But I see this ad that talks about making a passive income in trucking. And
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I got this right. A passive income in trucking.
Like you're going to earn a passive income like you do in real estate. Real estate's kind of known for that passive income.
Which of course is hilarious for anybody who's ever owned, 1 or 2 small properties. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. There's, even in real estate, passive income's not all that passive. But to try to think that you can make a passive income in trucking, I don't know how that works. So.
Isn't that what you're just going to get, 20, 30 trucks out on the road? You're just going to go sit Mai Tais on the beach, right? Isn't that the plan, Chris?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Especially when you're first starting out. You can't just go buy a truck and give that truck to somebody else to just let it manage itself. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah. Have you ever seen those memes with the guy, he's like sitting at a table outside a park, always holding a cup of coffee, and he's like, and it says something along the lines of, convince me.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that with this one, I'll be the guy sitting at the table and convince me there's no such thing as passive income in trucking. Convince me otherwise.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. That is actually pretty funny. That is worth a chuckle. Good one, Chris.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, the main topic today, like I said, is solving the entire world's economic problems. So why don't you just start from the beginning, Chris?
I don't want to solve them. I'm just going to complain about them and talk about them.
Hey, you're never going to get Miss America with that attitude.
Yeah,
you don't want to solve world hunger.
I thought one of the things that would be kind of fun starting this one out was we'll just continue with the acronyms. So I brought an acronym in this one, BLUF, B-L-U-F.
B-L-U-F.
It's another one from my military world.
Oh, okay. So I have no idea.
Bottom line up front.
Oh,
So I kind of want to say that, one, there's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And I think freight rates are going to kind of level off. They're not going to continue to climb like they have been. And we've seen recently they're starting to go down a little bit. And I think that may continue some, but I don't think it's all doom and gloom. Like I think there's still some good things to look forward to. I don't think it's going to get as bad as it has in the past. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. So there's my bottom line up front. It's changing. There's uncertainty, but I don't think the sky is falling.
right. I mean, we've talked a lot in previous months, even the last year and a half, about how good the freight market has been. And, you've been kind of riding a wave at Haulin Assets. It's been very nice, right? Setting records month after month.
Yeah.
And, things have been really good. But always in the back of anybody's mind, certainly in mine and yours, but it should be in anybody's mind who's listening, whenever you hear, oh yeah, we're riding that wave, things are looking great. Well, that wave is going to crash down at some point, right? You have to be prepared for that eventuality.
Yeah.
Right. So is that kind of what we're getting after today?
Exactly. And we've talked a little bit about, in some of the early episodes, we talked a little bit about Joseph from the Bible.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The 7 years of the 7 good ears of corn, and the 7 years of skinny cows. I think that's how it is, if I remember right. We've
Chris,
just been eating lots of corn.
You and I one day we're gonna review Genesis, okay? Because it sounds
Is that
like
where it is in Genesis? Is it that? Maybe. I don't know. Genesis seems like a little too early in the Bible for Joseph, but maybe not. I don't know.
Chris.
Just how well I know.
You know what? You need to go back to Sunday school. All
Probably.
right. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of things. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, where do we go from here then? On this issue.
So let's talk a little bit. So there's a lot of uncertainty, and you can kind of see that in the market right now. Like if you look at the stock market, it's down 900 points one day, up 900 points the next day, down 900 points the other. It's like this, it just doesn't know what it's doing. And that's because there's a lot of uncertainty. And there's a lot of things that are going on right now that are kind of causing this uncertainty. You think about, you've got the war in Ukraine. The energy market's a mess right now, oil and gas, and, Russia's such a big supplier of it. People don't know what's, kind of what to make of things. And so, fuel prices are going way up, which is causing inflation to go way up. Interest rates are going up to try to combat inflation. You've got China right now that has, for the last month or so, they've locked down a big chunk of their country and stopped manufacturing stuff, which means a lot of those goods aren't making it to the U.S. And so they're not getting shipped through the U.S., which is, kind of disrupting the freight market a little bit. There's a lot of things that are causing all this disruption right now. And that creates that uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty in the market, people don't want to invest. And so you think about it from our perspective, with a truck in the trucking industry. If you're an owner operator or a small fleet and you're thinking about, adding a truck, and, if you don't know what rates are going to do in the next 3 months, are you going to want to go spend money on a new truck?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And so that's basically, if you think about that through all sectors of the economy, everybody's looking at things right now and trying to make that same decision. And a lot of people are going to probably over the next 6 months or so kind of hold off on, making big investments or big expenses because nobody really knows what's happening.
Right. It's why markets are often really volatile around something as routine as a presidential election. Yeah. Just because, hey, what's going to happen? What's the new administration going to do? Right. So that uncertainty is a major factor. Sorry. I feel like I kind of cut you off. Go on.
So I'm hoping that people have been listening kind of to the spirit of the podcast over the last little while. They've been smart about saving money. They've been smart about their growth, so they're not trying to grow faster than they can kind of support. And if they've been doing that, even if things trend down, they're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Should be okay.
So what was the best? Did it peak this month and you feel like it's coming down, or did things peak a while ago and you're seeing a new trend over the last few months? What's the story now?
It's kind of interesting. It depends on what you talk about. What's peaking. So if you look at the freight rates kind of actually peaked in January, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
And they've been kind of going down a little bit since then. And, have we hit the bottom with where rates are going to go? I don't know. They got up as high as like $350 a mile on average across the country. and they've started to, come down, and I think they're closer into that high twos, $3 range. And I think they're probably going to start to level off, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they go down even to the 250 range. But even at 250, most trucking companies should be able to make things work at 250 a mile.
Right.
So I'm not overly concerned about it. But if you look at, I've been doing a lot of research on this, and some things that are interesting. Looking at freight volumes, and freight volumes is really traditionally what has been kind of the big driver of what happens with freight rates. And I was kind of surprised to see this, but freight volumes actually peaked. Guess when?
December.
No, they peaked in August of 2019.
Really?
Yeah.
That long?
So
wow.
Freight rates kind of through COVID, or freight volumes, even as the rates have gone really, really high, freight volumes actually have kind of held steady. There's been some little fluctuations, but they haven't gone super crazy. Nothing like what the rates have done. And I think one of the big driving factors of that is the driver shortage, because you've got all these trucking companies out there, especially big trucking companies, trying to hire drivers, and they can't hire drivers. And so, you drive by some of these bigger trucking companies, you'll actually see a decent number of trucks parked there. If they had drivers to put in those trucks, they could keep every last one of those trucks busy, but they can't find the drivers. And I don't think that's anything that's going to change anytime soon.
Is there a reason for that you can think of, or that you know of maybe? Why is there a driver shortage?
I have a lot of reasons for it. If you look at the average age of drivers I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like in their 40s. You just don't have a whole lot of young people getting into the trucking industry,
sure,
especially as drivers. And so you've got this aging population, you've got guys that are retiring, you got a handful of people that came out of the industry because of more stringent drug testing measures, guys that weren't happy with the hours of service changes. So you have this big exodus of your senior drivers. You don't have a whole lot of younger guys coming in, and that's a big chunk of why you've got a driver shortage. Driver shortage has always been a problem, but it just keeps getting worse and worse. And I read one study, I can't remember exactly what it said, but I think it said that right now the driver shortage is roughly 80,000 drivers, and they project that by, I think it was 2028, it's going to be 160,000, so double what it is right now. Yeah. So you've got this problem that's going to kind of continue, and I actually think that is advantageous for owner operators and small trucking companies, because the bigger companies can't fill the demand because they can't bring on enough drivers, and so they have to put a lot of the freight has to go on the spot market and get taken care of otherwise. And so that means a guy that's an employed truck driver can find a job or become an owner operator and make as much or more money. And so, I think we're seeing, you've seen a bit of that over the last little while, and then small fleets tend to they treat their drivers a little bit better and pay better, and there's a lot of benefits to small fleets. And so I think small fleets will do a better job of managing that driver shortage than everybody else will.
If they follow 101 episodes of Chris's advice.
And that'll make it even better for sure.
Now, I apologize if this is a bit of a detour, Chris, and we can kind of come back to what you've just been talking about. But is subcontracting in trucking a thing? So if these bigger fleets are having a hard time filling the volume that they need, to be out on the road, will they contact owner operators and say, "Hey, we'll subcontract with you"?
So that's what a leased on owner operator really is.
Oh, is that all
most of the
that
time?
is?
Yeah,
Okay.
is you've got somebody that owns their own truck and they go lease on or work for another motor carrier, and so the big.
I guess I was thinking of it more on like a one-off situation. That sounds more like a long-term relationship than what I'm thinking of.
If you're talking about one-offs.
Not
so
as
much. That's when they'll, that's why a lot of fleets have brokerages as well, the bigger fleets, because that's how they'll do that is they'll go hire, they'll throw it on the spot market, and then a single owner operator will haul it.
Okay, so bringing it back though to what you were just saying, is the idea here that that things are uncertain and they could start getting bad, quote unquote bad, however that's defined, right? If we want to define it by news headlines, it's always bad, right? But you know what I'm talking about. They start talking about, oh yes, it's nothing but driver shortages and overworked companies or whatever. And if I'm understanding you correctly, yes, that's not good, quote unquote good for the economy as a whole. But if you are in an owner operator position, or if you're a small fleet and you are able to navigate that, it could actually be okay for you.
Yeah,
even good for you.
And it can be. And I think this is one of the things that you need to kind of keep in mind within the trucking industry. If you are an owner operator or a small fleet, is you're going to have these ups and downs in the market. It's always going to happen. It's always happened. It's never going to stop. It's going to continue being like this. And so what you really need to do is take advantage of the good times, save some money. And that's when you really can make really good money in the trucking industry.
I'm sorry, Chris, what was that? Save what
and
now?
Save money.
Save money.
Yeah. Have you heard me say that before?
Once or twice.
So you save money so that when times do get a little bit more lean, you can get by. And so you just kind of get by during those times, make things work, and then you're there ready to take advantage when things rebound and things get really good, like they have been for the last year and a half.
Right. So, I mean, that's the only constant in this world is change, right? Things are going to change. So, always. I mean, it's kind of like I was saying at the beginning, you're riding the wave, but it should always be in the back of your mind that this won't last forever. And the opposite is also true, right? So when things are tough, a driver shortage may give opportunities to somebody like an owner operator, but it's also potentially going to raise some stress levels. And so, if there's an economic downturn, hey, it should always be in the back of your mind. This is temporary. Things change.
Yep.
The wave will come back again, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So let's kind of just summarize. Let's wrap it all together. Kind of what we've been talking a little bit about. Expect that change. It's going to happen. And the guys who are successful in business are typically people who are prepared to change, prepared for the downturn, and guys who are able to adapt. The ultra successful are people
be a water bear, Chris.
Be a water bear. There you go. Exactly.
I don't know
be
what
prepared
that was, but
and be a water bear. and so guys that are successful can do one of those two things. Guys that are ultra successful are able to do both. They're well prepared and they're able to adapt. And so, that's one of the things that I would advise everybody to do. That's kind of what we're talking about with this uncertain times in the economy. Be prepared, be ready to adapt. One other thing that I kind of want to talk a little bit about is just kind of what I think is going to happen with rates over the next little while. Like I talked about.
Ooh, is this the part where we pull out your crystal ball?
My crystal ball.
Gaze into its starry depths.
Yep. Let's do that.
Okay.
So here it is. Here's my crystal ball. I talked about rates have been as high and even a little bit over $350 a mile.
Oh,
we've seen some just incredible rates. I think that's going to go down. We've seen it go down. I think it's going to kind of continue to go down, but it's not going to go down to where it was 2 years ago. I don't think that's, fuel's higher, driver pays higher. It's not going to go down as high, as bad. I think
when you started out, I mean, you were clawing out, what was it, like $1.80 a mile or something like that?
There were times early on that we were averaging $1.80 a mile,
right.
$2 a mile. I think the rates are going to stay on average. And when I say $2.50 a mile, I think we're going to bounce between the $2.50 and $3 a mile. When I say $2.50, I'm talking average across the country. You're probably going to see situations where it drops below $2.50, but I don't think that's going to be, that's going to be in certain markets.
Right. It's like gas prices.
Localized, like gas prices, like, freight's just kind of that way.
I'm sorry.
Loads.
Fuel prices.
Did I say gas?
I did. We both did.
Wow. Yeah. Fuel prices. There are times like freight going into California's $1.50 a mile. Like you're probably going to see stuff like that. But on average across the country, I don't think you're going to see stuff dropping below $2.50 a mile for any given period of time. And you should be able to at least survive on that $2.50 a mile.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Chris has gazed into the future.
With that, can I give a disclaimer?
Sure.
I want to pretend like I'm a lawyer for a second.
I love it.
So
you were an economist, now you're a lawyer.
Now I'm a lawyer. Yeah.
Got it.
Putting on different hats. Economists are like weathermen. They look at a lot of different data points and a lot of different things. And in all reality, it's a lot of educated guesses.
Right.
And so, I say these things and I could be wrong. Like it happens. This is my best guess of what I think is going to happen over the next little while. But how you combat that is just like what we've been talking about is, you be prepared so that no matter what road you've got in front of you, whether it's a road littered in potholes and is rough and ragged, or one that is newly paved and is smooth, you're going to be able to navigate it no matter what.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that economists and weathermen both have, or what do we call them? Meteorologists?
Meteorologists.
Okay, weather people,
Chris.
Chris.
There you go. I know, I'm sorry.
One thing they both have in common is that they're really good at looking at the past.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, okay, I guess that's even an arguable point, but they're a lot better at looking into the past and seeing what happened and why than they are at looking into the future and saying, here's what's going to happen and why, right?
Yep.
But that being said, that doesn't mean they don't have anything to offer. It doesn't mean we shouldn't pay attention.
You should pay attention to them, but always take what they say with a grain of salt.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Chris. So I think that's going to wrap up our main topic. If I were to put a bow on it, it's pay attention. Economics matter. Your economics matter, but the larger world around you does as well for your business.
Yep.
So, Chris, do you have an impact tip for us today?
Actually, I do.
Oh, we skipped last week.
Yeah,
so.
I've got one.
Okay.
Hopefully I haven't used this one before, but maybe I have.
Okay.
It's a pretty simple one.
All right.
Be prepared.
You just said that?
I know, and that's the impact tip too.
Oh, okay.
Is be prepared.
You're recycling impact tips from within the same episode now, Chris.
Well, it wasn't officially an impact tip till I just said it just now. So mark that in your books. Boy Scouts need to be prepared, and so do owner-operators and fleet owners. Be prepared.
Oh, Chris, you know what? This is what we need. We need to, the Scout motto, obviously. You just said it. There's the Scout law, the Scout oath. We need to do these for truckers as well. So, like a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful friend, all that stuff. We need to do that for truckers. And there's your T-shirt, Chris.
Hey.
That's the trucker's law, right? A 12-point trucker's law. A trucker is
okay. I'll try to. That's a good idea. I'll put some thought into that one.
We will sell tens of those, Chris. Tens
of them.
That's right.
Sounds like it'll make us a good meal.
Which we will then actually just put right into savings and eat 12 peanut M&Ms for lunch, like Chris did when he was on the road. Right. All right. Well, very good, Chris. It was short and sweet today. I didn't prepare a story or anything for today. I know it's a short episode, and I think I've promised people that if it was less than 25 minutes, I would tell a story.
Well, you've got a few minutes to think about that, and you could do a story after.
All right. Well, we'll roll the music and see if I come up with anything in that time. But thanks everybody for listening. Make sure you go to HaulinAssetsLLC.com. Make sure you find us on Facebook. Lobby Chris to put my face on the side of a truck. All that kind of stuff. We'd love to hear from you all there. And thanks for listening. Chris, I'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you next time.
All right, Chris, I got one. It's short and sweet. This is another one from when I was a kid. And the reason I'm thinking of this is because I went to my five-year-old daughter's t-ball game last night. So with t-ball, especially, so I grew up in Seattle, where in the 90s, anybody who knows anything about Major League Baseball knows that I grew up in a crazy baseball scene. So I was in t-ball and 6 years old, and it's just a story of the greatest moment of my life. That's all. Okay. So if you're curious what the end result of this is going to be. So I'm at my daughter's t-ball game, and they haven't even told these kids what first base is, right? This is real sad. I feel like they should at least know what first base is. You hit the ball, you drop the bat, you run to first base. I feel like, in contrast, we took t-ball really seriously when I was 6 in Seattle. So anyway, I'm playing shortstop. Up comes to bat Dusty Farkas. Okay.
That's a good name.
Yeah,
I like that one.
it's actually a great name.
Yeah.
We made fun of him a lot when we were kids because we were dumb kids, but it's a great name. So anyway, Dusty Farkas comes up to bat, and his dad had obviously worked hard with him. And so he squares up at the tee and lets rip a line drive right over my head. Okay. So I'm at shortstop and goes right over my head into the outfield. He chugs into second base, whatever it was. And then a couple innings later comes up, does the exact same thing. He knew right where to hit it. He had practiced this 1,000 times with his dad in the backyard, apparently. So the third time he's up to bat, I formed my genius plan, Chris.
Oh.
This,
So you backed up and you got prepared for it.
That's right. I pulled out my Trucker's Law T-shirt. I got prepared. No, my master plan. You said I wasn't a genius, Chris. How dare you? Because my master plan was to wait till Dusty hit it and then jump really high. And I did. And I jumped, I put my hand way up in the air, caught the ball, line drive right into my glove. 6 years old.
Wow.
This is not a thing. This is not a
that's
normal
impressive.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm as surprised as anybody when I come down and I've got the ball in my hands. But you would have thought that I had single-handedly overthrown the Soviet Union, right? Like I was Rambo behind enemy lines. These parents went nuts. You have never heard anything like it in your life.
Funny. That's
And it's I really do attribute that moment to that moment, my love of baseball that continues to this day.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, among other things, but like it's one of those things. So whatever it is that you love, I always say everybody's a nerd about something. In my family, we loved baseball, right? And so that kind of rubbed off on me. And so whoever's listening, you're a nerd about something. Find a way to pass that on to your kids. Find them a way to give them that moment, right, of just pure glory, and it'll stick with them for a long, long time.
That's cool.
So there you go, Chris.
So guess where my first T-ball game was?
Where'd you grew up here in Utah?
I grew
right?
up all over the place.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so where was it?
Stillicum, Washington.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, leave it to Washington to have a place named like Stillicum, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have to
Just
go
outside of Tacoma.
I was going to say, do you have to go through Cle Elum and into Yakima?
Yeah.
And-
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Washington has some good names.
Oh, they're so good. Yeah. They're so good. Anyway, all right, there you go, Chris.
Okay.
I don't mean to belabor it, but
Good,
there's your
good story.
All right, we'll see
See ya.
everybody next time.